The tool brand that you're staring at right now is one of the most beloved tool brands in the United States of America. And if you're an HVAC or electrician, not only have you heard of this brand, I guarantee you probably have one of these in your toolbox or tool bag. And if you're anything like me, that means number one, you're a cool cat. And number two, you probably wonder how these things are made. What's going on behind the scenes? And that's where we're taking you today. I was able to visit Klein Tools in Texas a few weeks ago, and I got to meet some really cool people, including this dude right here. Morgan Maintenance was down there with me. He's an awesome dude. Go check out his channel. But not only was he cool, so was he and she and she and he and he and she. So in today's video, I'm going to show you behind the scenes some manufacturing processes, which were really freaking cool, and the overall building of where these tools that so many people love are made. Yeah, right here in the US of A. In this video, something happened down at the plant that I wasn't real proud of. I did get it on video. I just feel that I have to show it to you, and this is one of the reasons why I don't do a lot of these type of visits, but don't worry, we'll talk about that here a little bit later. Now, the first machine that we got to see was making the overmolds for the grips of the hand tool. So anybody that uses pliers or any type of hand tool, you got to do some squeezing. You got to have good grips. If not, you're going to hurt your hand a bone, and well, that's not real nice like. So you can see they're making the blue plier grips here. But I thought this one here was really, really cool. Now, think of your nut drivers, your screwdrivers. This machine here, they're completely automated, but you do have the operators running them, and you got the engineers putting this stuff together. And just the way the efficiency was set up on these machines was really, really awesome. So you can see that when you use a screwdriver or nut driver, whatever you got going on, you sort of take for granted the handles, the grips, and all that good stuff. Well, this is how these are actually put on. You see this machine right here? Well, the screwdrivers basically go into these molds. Don't worry, I'm going to zoom in for you for your viewing pleasure, but the screwdrivers actually go into these molds right here. And now you can see that set is done. They're going to put a new set in. You can see that they got the plastic on the back, but they still need that rubber overmold. So they're going to inject it with their secret sauce. They wouldn't give me the recipe, but it's really hot in there. And then all of a sudden, once it pretty much forms it, those fans cool it down really, really quick. And you can see it got the Klein logo on the top over here. And that's going to protect your hands when you're trying to grip and all that good stuff. So it's a very efficient process, and they put out a lot of different tools on that machine. But what about the fishing tape? Well, don't worry about that. I know a lot of you use them, and we'll get to those here in a second. Why, you ask? Well, because I want to show you more screwdrivers. So you see the coil on the back over here. This is steel, my friends, and basically it's steel wire that they're going to run through a machine. And you can see all those rollers here pretty much guide that material through. And then they're going to cut it off into specific lengths. So this right here is actually making a Phillips head screwdriver. Now the problem is these CNC machines and these lathes and all that stuff, they're hard to see all of this stuff here through the window. You got to be safe, but I do want to let you know, I got a little bit of a better view. You're going to be able to see them slicing and dicing down through and making that Phillips bit. There you go. Focus, baby, focus. You know what? Let me just move it over here. This window looks to be a little cleaner, but you can see this is basically a steel bar. There's nothing going on over here, but they got this going on. They're cutting it down, and they're going to come over and they're going to cut the grooves out, and that's going to be your Phillips. And I'll have to go back and listen to the audio, but I believe they said they made over 300 an hour, which is pretty real nice like. So all in all, they got all different types of screwdrivers. They got the Phillips slotted, they got square, they got whatever you're looking for. They make them right here at the shop in Texas. Check that out.
See that? Yeah. Oh wow. Pretty cool, right? Yeah.
Now, the really cool part about this is that usually when you heat metal up like this, it either weakens it or strengthens it, depending on what's going on in the process. But those chips right there, all of the heat is dissipated in those chips, which make the steel pretty much perfect. And the quality control, from what I was seeing, well, they're on it. They're making sure that things are right. If you're going to buy this, they want the tool to do what it's supposed to do, and they want it to last. Now, the machine that I'm looking at right here is the grinding machine. See, when the steel coil goes in, they do their thing, well, sort of that grayish metal, and it's not real nice like, but this is grinding them down. But there's so many different processes when it comes to working with metal. But I just want to show you, this is what it looks like after it's ground down. So this right here, they're just pretty much ejecting these out of the molds and all that good stuff. You can see that, well, it's really satisfying. I could probably watch that all day long. Now, a lot of people might think that steel is steel, but a lot of people might not realize that there's a lot of processes that go into making steel strong. One of them is an annealing process, basically really high heat. Now, I'm going to show you that here in a second, but look how nice these look after they're ground down. There's your slotted screwdriver. That, my friends, is so cool. I'm telling you, this looks like silver and gold. Silver and gold. It's shiny, and I like shiny things. I'm like a chimp. If you show me something shiny, I think it's going to be real nice. Like, I'm just saying, I could stare at this all day long because I think it looks so freaking awesome. Let me just show you another shot. How do you not look at that and say to yourself, man, that is some beautiful, beautiful metal. Now, as I was mentioning before, when you're dealing with steel, you don't want steel that's too soft because, well, we all know what's going to happen if steel's too soft, and you don't want it too hard because it becomes brittle and unsafe. So what you have to do is put steel through what's called an annealing process. And yeah, it's really scientific. It's actually really cool, but this is their annealing process. And I want you to see something, my friends. Before you use these tools, they all get heat treated into that giant furnace right here. What is that giant furnace going to do, my friends? Boom! I mean, come on, who doesn't like fire? Now, the reason why that fire is like that is because it's protecting the heat in that furnace from escaping. It basically is like a giant wall of heat. And now you can see that those pliers and all the other hand tools are going in there to get annealed. Make that steel strong. And you can see that fire is kicking back up on that. That, my friends, is freaking awesome. However, I wouldn't want to do that on a hot Texas summer day. In the fall and the winter, might not be too bad, but I'm just saying, it probably gets pretty freaking warm in there. I was quite comfortable. So the door closes down, you can see that wall of fire shut off and no loss of heat in the annealing furnace. Very efficient. And now that those are annealed, well, they can go get finished off, the handles put on and all that good stuff. But here's what else is really freaking cool. So the snips, even though they're annealed, the blades need to be really, really strong. You don't want them breaking or chipping when you're using them to cut. How does that happen? Well, this process was a little bit harder to pick up, but this is a laser that's going onto those blades. Look at it, it's heating them up with a laser and making them super, super hard. Basically, it's making them very, very strong, very tough, and able to handle whatever you're cutting. That is freaking awesome. I've never seen anything like that before. But what about conduit benders? A lot of you use them. Have you ever seen how they were assembled? Well, you're about to right now. Now, here's the thing. This machine is ran by this operator. I felt bad for the operator because I walked up to her and I think she was done with the process. Like, she already did what she needed to do. And I was like, listen, you will make me very sad if you don't do this again so I can get it on video. I need you to do one more. And she was more than happy. Listen, supervisors, the employees, they were awesome. But I had to use my tactic of making them feel horrible about themselves and letting me and the audience down. So she did it again with a big smile on her face. So I got to give her credit. What about your nut drivers? Well, this is called friction welding. And if you ever wanted to see how these things are put together, this is pretty real nice, like my friends. So once again, they got a process, a machine that's going to do all this. And they're going to assemble these things. If you haven't seen these outside of the handle and all that, that's what they look like. They're going to be hollow, a little bit lighter, but still strong. You can see they're crimped down over here for the handle to go onto, but that's not the coolest part. You see how it's sort of like shiny on one area, not so shiny on the other area? Well, that's where these things are pretty much put together. What do I mean by put together? Friction welding, my friend. Watch it spin. Watch it. And that heat from the friction basically welds them together, which is freaking awesome. Not only that, they make the rivets here. They make a lot of different things here. Screwdrivers, rivets, all kind of stuff.
We make rivets for our sister company up north. We make INS screwdrivers, thread dogs, caps, watch, Chicago grip, the ones that pull the wire from pole to pole. So they use those rivets to assemble the Chicago grip.
Now, I had told you earlier in the video that we would show you fish tape, and a lot of people might say to themselves, oh, that's not a big deal. I mean, it's just in a case. I guess I'm out. Believe me, this is a process. It's like a giant spring on the inside of these cases, and if one thing goes wrong, well, you got a mess on your hands. Have you ever tried putting one of these things back together? Yeah. But anyway, the process is really cool, and I'm going to show you basically how these things are formed and then put into the casing. So what you have here is just the casing, and you can see that this one here is done. The screws just pretty much closing everything up, but there's going to be another one. Don't worry. You see that how it's winding that tape up on the left? There you go. Now, there's a couple different processes here with this machine. So you can see that it's closing up the case on this one. This one's pretty much done, so they're going to move to the side. They're going to take the other one, this one's getting ready here. They're going to take the other one here, the metal, and now they got to form the end of this here. So that goes into a separate machine, and they're going to crimp it, and they're, come on, where's the camera work at here? I'm filming through a fence. I can do better, I will do better, but you can see, hopefully if it zooms in a little bit, you know, it's basically forming the end of this. So it's not somebody with a pair of pliers. It's a machine that does it. They cut it, they snip it, they twist it, they bend it, and then once they're done with that, well, that's going to go into the casing, and it's going to do exactly what I showed you before. It's going to come over, drop the lid, put the screws on. Very efficient. Now, another really cool thing that we got to see was this test right here. Each one of these screwdrivers are rated up to 1,000 volts. However, they test them at 10,000 volts. Now, I'm not really sure why they only rate them at 1,000 volts if they're being tested at 10,000 volts. But what I will say is if they can handle the 10,000 volts, I'm pretty sure you're covered for the 1,000 volts when you're using them out in the field. And that, my friends, is pretty real nice-like. Now, before I move forward and show you more of the cool processes, I have to address the drama that I spoke to you about earlier in this video. You see, I was excited to be down there with Joey. However, I found out that they invited somebody else that I am not real close with. As a matter of fact, they absolutely hate me. You see, as we were walking back to the break room to take a quick 5-minute break and get some snacks, that's when I was told that they invited my evil twin.
And all of a sudden, there he was. I wasn't expecting him to be there. In the same boardroom, same meeting, same space, wearing that same VCG construction hat that he knows that I dislike. He basically took over.
Shut up. Shut the pie hole. Got an idea. Why don't we change the name from Klein to Incline? Because you guys are going up.
That doesn't make any sense.
Shut your face. What do you think?
You know, sometimes I think it's me that's going crazy with everything my evil twin said that day. They absolutely loved. They couldn't get enough of the guy. He took over the meeting, so much so that they felt that he was leadership material.
So I looked right at him and I told him, I said, your face, I hate it. Look at his face. Oh, it's so stupid. Now I get you guys make like pliers and stuff around here, but why? It's called these nail clippers. Can you imagine walking into a store and somebody seeing these and said it's nail clippers? Who would buy them? Manliest nail clippers around. Look up.
It's like I was living in Bizarro World or something. The ruder he was, the more they loved him. It's like he was soaking up the energy and collecting it in his dark, evil soul.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
I hate your face. Yeah.
So after about 20 minutes of this, I'm told to leave the meeting, that they had a second meeting set up. I didn't see anything on the schedule. So I go out, I'm thinking to myself, they're going to say, hey, listen, we had enough. It was cute at first, but enough's enough. You got to go. No, you know what they did? The board came down. They hired him as executive vice president, told him that they loved his stuff. So anyway, the board leaves, everybody comes back in. I'm trying to talk to people and they tell me I can't speak to you, Clint, unless I tell you how much I hate your face. That's the only thing I'm allowed to say to you. So I get sad and I'm looking down like a lot because I feel out of place now. Like I know the entire pattern of the floor. Like I'm getting thirsty. He said I couldn't have any water. He got rid of all the beverages was taken out. I got really sad, really upset. I'm like, how is this happening? And as I'm sitting there questioning my life choices, I'm saying to myself, I mean, I guess the nail clippers, they're not a bad idea. I mean, like, who wouldn't want Klein nail clippers? I mean, I definitely heard of dumber ideas, but I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna speak up. I'm gonna make myself known.
You know, I think the subscribers would really...
Shut the face that I hate. He said it slipped, but I knew better. He had me escorted out shortly after.
But not before I got these last clips of the shipping. Now, anytime you buy anything at Home Depot or Lowe's, when it comes to Klein, this is where it's coming from. Even if you were to order it online, you probably got the package coming directly from Klein. So this is really cool. You can see everything that's getting ready to go out. They got like a really cool, I don't know, packaging, sorting system, and it basically knows exactly where everything's going, what truck is going to be loaded on, and where it's going to head, what store, what branch of store, what location of the store, whatever. I just think it's really cool, and I can't wrap my head around this stuff. I'm just saying, if I was in charge of any of this, nobody would get their packages. Like everything would be delayed and late and basically just lost and never show up. So thank God I have nothing to do with anything like this. So I do want to let you know that there was a couple things running through my brain that I was feeling when I was standing here at this plant. Number one is, thank God, how awesome is it that they are bringing and keeping this stuff in the United States on the Texas soil. Never been to Texas, was so happy to be there. Number two, a lot of companies don't allow people like me to come in and film things for trade secrets and all that. So I was able to bring this to you because of them allowing us to do that. Number three, the people that work there, whether it was somebody in shipping or the annealing line or the engineers or the product managers or the plant manager, so many people just so happy to be there. They're laughing, they were happy, they were having a good time, but they were working and they were serious. And not to mention, they were safe. I mean, it was a really safe place too. So that's great to see. But I don't know, it just seems like they were all on a mission to bring you legit tools, and they were happy doing it. And it was so awesome to be part of that for even a few hours. And again, it was really awesome to meet everybody down there and to see their passion and what they were able to put out on the market for people to not only work faster, but safer as well. So thank you to everybody at Klein for allowing me and my audience to see this. And Joey, you were pretty awesome as well. Look, I made him blush. But the question is, what did Klein think of our visit? Yep, that's right.